At it again, and we've got a major update. Like, share, comment, and hit that subscribe button if you are new. And let's dive in.
The cases against President Trump are unraveling, and we may even be seeing the Supreme Court finally intervene in all this. Let's start with what's going on in New York. An appeal.
Big shout out to Dr. Steve Turley on this. Make sure you guys go subscribe to his channel and show him some major love for bringing this breaking content to us. Breaking news.
Appeals Court has put a stop to that woke judge's order to break up President Trump's businesses in New York. As I'm sure you may know by now, Judge Engoron, or the Snow Miser as I prefer, has weaponized the legal system against President Trump. You'll note that there are no banks.
One more pause. I'll leave the link to his channel down below in the description.
Or insurance companies suing Trump. No one. None of New York's banks or insurance companies, no actual business entities are suing him. And that's, of course, because every single one of these banks did their own due diligence in estimating the worth of Trump's properties. And that's the key. They, the banks and insurance companies, determined the worth of Trump's properties. But the state of New York, through this Maoist judge, is accusing Trump of, quote, overvaluing his properties. So they're fining him hundreds of millions of dollars. They're in the process of trying to break up the Trump organization and seizing control of his properties, including Trump Tower, and even penalizing his kids, for heaven's sake. His kids are being brought into all of this. It's utterly insane. Well, thankfully, a New York appellate court has just stepped in and canceled Judge Engoron's ruling that forced the Trump organization to cancel business certificates and appoint receivers. So for at least the next month, this judge can't touch Trump's company. It's a huge defeat for the state's case against Trump, led by this judge and, of course, New York's insanely woke Attorney General Letitia James. And this is yet the latest defeat for her. I mean, if you recall, on day one of the trial, the judge conceded.
You know what should happen? That I think would be absolutely hilarious. Somebody like Elon Musk, who's got like buku bucks, right? Something absolutely ridiculous, should just buy, the Trump businesses from Trump in New York, right? The New York entities that they're trying to take away from him. And just give Trump, some stupid amount of money, something fair, obviously. I'm not saying Elon should just donate, but he should definitely just buy him from him just to give him the cash, and Trump should just build them somewhere else in a red state, in a red city, and build them bigger and better. As a matter of fact, build even more of them. I think that would be absolutely hilarious. This whole trial would, I'm sure there's probably something that would stop him from actually selling these companies right now in the middle of this trial. But I think that would be absolutely hilarious. In the middle of the trial, he's like, oh, well, Elon Musk offered me a deal that I couldn't refuse. So, yeah, we can keep going with this, but I don't even own those anymore.
That the statute of limitations are in effect on transactions that have closed prior to 2014, which means, according to Trump, that basically 80% of this case got thrown out on day one.
Yep.
And Letitia James was so angry that she reportedly left the courtroom without granting a single interview, given that she just lost 80% of her case against Trump on the first day because she can't figure out what the heck statute of limitations actually are. So that's what's going on in New York. Let's go to the classified documents case. So Judge Eileen Canon, who's overseeing that case, has halted any and all legal proceedings related to the classified materials as Trump's attorneys request an extension of the deadlines in the case. Now, the main issue here involves how the court is supposed to handle the classified materials that are at the center of the case. The materials are sensitive, of course, because of national security requirements, but that does beg the question, given that it is President Trump who alone has the ultimate decision-making authority in terms of what is and is not classified. Not a court, not a bureaucrat, or any other unelected official. But regardless, The judge in this case established several deadlines for ruling on those issues, and Trump's legal team has filed a motion asking her for a 3-month extension, complaining that they've still not been granted access to significant portions of the materials that they have a right to see based on discovery. So it looks like this whole attempt at weaponizing the legal system against Trump is starting to meet some significant obstacles and barriers in the courts, which of course raises the question, when will the Supreme Court finally intervene in all this? Well, we may have just gotten an answer on that. Just a few days back, President Trump filed a motion to dismiss his January 6th case pending against him, citing presidential immunity as a grounds to dismiss the case in its entirety. Now, this is huge because the motion equally applies to the Fulton County prosecution as well. Both cases against Trump involve what he did as president. And the notion here is that Trump, as president, has immunity from prosecution. Now, we've already seen a state judge rule in Trump's favor on this. A Pennsylvania judge recently ruled that Trump cannot be sued or indicted precisely because of the protection provided to him by what's called presidential immunity. Judge Michael Erdos ruled that Trump's immunity extends to a tweet he posted and statements he made during a Pennsylvania State Senate committee hearing back in November of 2020, where Trump, of course, alleged fraudulent activity in the state's election counting process. The lawsuit against Trump was brought by one of the supervisors of Pennsylvania's voting machines during the 2020 election. And that supervisor claimed that President Trump and others, Rudy Giuliani in particular, had conspired to slander him, caused him to receive death threats, and even suffer, two heart attacks. Poor fellow. But according to this Pennsylvania judge, Trump's actions are indeed protected under what's called presidential immunity. Now, this protection comes from a Supreme Court case called Nixon versus Fitzgerald. And constitutional scholars argue that the decision gives the president absolute immunity for all the actions done as president, even if those actions were unlawful. I mean, it's very, very interesting. And now it's starting to make the rounds more and more that these 4 cases against Trump may indeed end up getting tossed out precisely because even the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case, they all deal with actions Trump engaged in as president. Now, the real question in all of this is simply, is Trump's motion to dismiss based on his claims of absolute presidential immunity appealable pre-trial? In other words, can this ruling be used by the Trump team to demand an appellate process before all his trials begin, so that those appeals ultimately end up in the Supreme Court before any of these trials actually start? This wouldn't affect the New York trial, by the way, because that involves actions Trump took before becoming president. But all the other cases, all the 4, have the potential of collapsing if Trump's appeals to presidential immunity are found to have a pre-trial legitimacy, which means that the appeals process for that immunity would end up in the Supreme Court, and their ruling could just throw this whole thing down. So all of this is to say that Biden's attempt at jailing his main political opposition may indeed end up backfiring once and for all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And once again, big shout out to Dr. Steve Turley once again for bringing us that fantastic information there. Now, obviously, I knew about some of that and already, but the way he put it all together was beautiful, which is why I wanted to bring it to you guys. And, I think that obviously they're worried. The establishment is worried, which is why you have these cases. It's why you have all of this going on. You have the civil trials, the documents, and the fannies and the Alvin Braggs, and I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. Because everything that they've tried in the past has not worked. And neither is this. So I think the next escalation in all of this, I don't think they will attempt to take him out. No. Be too obvious. Way too obvious. We're all looking for that to happen. We're all watching. You know what I mean? I don't think they could do that in front of the public eye like that. No. Not at all. I think they would have a poop storm on their hands, the likes of which they've never seen before, if they attempted such a thing. No, what I've speculated now that they will do is drag us into WW3. Therefore, postponing the election until further notice. That's what I think they will do. Now, I have no hard evidence to back that up other than just what's happening around us. Just seems like the world is crumbling, and allegedly China, I read a story that allegedly China wants us in 4 wars at once. And yeah, I mean, you got the Russia situation going on. Now you've got the other situation going on. China's on, Taiwan's doorstep, and I'm sure something else could pop up here or there. But I'm, 3 different things going on at once. 2 of them with two of the biggest opponents that we have. I think that could spell some tragedy, some real serious doom. Not only for the presidency, but for us as Americans as well, right? Because I don't think we're ready to take on both of them at the same time. That's just my humble opinion. Obviously, I'm an American. I support America. I will always support America. But I just, in the back of my mind, I'm like, you got the largest landmass, right, in Russia. You got the largest population in China combining, possibly working together because we push them into each other. Then there's us, which we've already sent a lot of our stuff overseas already. I don't know, man. If we have any military experts, right? Obviously, I'm no expert. This is just my personal opinion, okay? So take that however you want to. But if we have any military experts, let us all know in the comment section. How would we fare against the second and third strongest countries in a war right now? If it were to pop off tomorrow, who wins? Honestly, obviously, we would all love to say us. Of course. But is that the truth? Because the truth is what matters. Let me know. How are you guys feeling? Talk to me. And back to the whole Trump situation. Like I said, that's the only thing that I see. The only way that I see them getting rid of Trump is WW3. Because this whole trial, all of these trials, especially if they get thrown out, oh my goodness, boy, if they get thrown out. Now, of course, the left is going to demonize the Supreme Court and try to make them look bad and illegitimate and yada, yada, yada. They're going to try to pack it, the whole 9. They're going to yell, kick, and scream as any, cornered animal would, right? But how do you guys think this is all going to play out? In the end, how is it? Are we going to make it to the 2024 election? If you're asking me the probabilities in what my gut says we make it and Trump wins and all of this ends. But I also have to be realistic and not lie to myself or you all and say that that's a 100% certainty. I do believe there is a possibility of WW3 and there not being an election next year. I do think that is a possibility. Do I think it's a high possibility? No, but it is possible. So yeah, y'all let me know your thoughts, your opinions in the comment section below. Big shout out to Dr. Steve Turley once again. Go subscribe to his YouTube channel and show the brother some major love. I'm out.